Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're really immersing ourselves, getting into a pretty hefty stack of research about, well, one of the biggest movements in schools right now, mindfulness in education. You hear it called MI mostly.
Yeah, it's been everywhere, hailed as this, potential game changer for boosting scores, helping kids manage stress, all sorts of things.
But like you said, the research we've looked at paints, a much more complicated picture, doesn't it? There's huge promise, but also some significant questions.
Exactly. And just a level set, mindfulness itself is pretty straightforward conceptually. It's the practice of paying attention on purpose to the present moment.
Right, without judging what comes up.
Exactly, non-judgmentally. And in schools, the idea is to use this to build up key skills like concentration, self-awareness, and crucially, emotional regulation for both the students and the teachers.
Okay, so that brings us to our mission for this deep dive. We really want to figure out if me is some kind of guaranteed win just by putting it on the schedule, or if, how it's actually done makes all the difference.
That's the core question. We need to weigh those really impressive gains people report, often in smaller studies, against some pretty large-scale research that raises some serious flags.
And maybe we should start with why schools are even looking for something like this so intensely. What's the context here?
The context is pressure, just immense pressure on everyone in the school system. I mean, look at the stats. 1 in 8 kids in the U.S. dealing with diagnosable anxiety. That's huge.
1 in 8. Wow.
And that's just the kids. We often forget the adults. Over 75%, 3/4 of teachers' health issues are linked directly back to job stress.
75%.
Right.
That's staggering. So the thinking is, if you could support the teacher's mental health, that's a win-win.
It's seen as fundamental, sort of like that put your own oxygen mask on first idea. If the teacher is more regulated, less stressed, the whole classroom environment
The
shifts.
downstream effects could be massive.
Potentially, yes. Stabilize the adults, support the kids more effectively.
Okay, right. Let's unpack the benefits case first then. We hear a lot about calming kids down, but what about the academics? The cognitive stuff?
Yeah, the research does suggest tangible gains there. Things like improved memory, better organizational skills, even boosts in reading and math scores show up in some studies.
So it's not just feelings, it's actually impacting learning capacity.
That's the argument. Take that 2015 study, for example, looked at 4th and 5th graders. The kids who got mindfulness training, they actually scored higher in math.
Higher math scores, okay.
And behaviorally, the results were striking too. They showed 24% more positive social interactions and were 20% less aggressive compared to the control group.
20% less aggression that's huge for any classroom. But how does mindfulness do that if it's not teaching math formulas? What's the mechanism?
Good question. It's not teaching the subject, it's strengthening the underlying skills needed for learning. Think focus, attention control, and maybe most importantly, impulse control, self-regulation.
Right, the ability to manage those immediate reactions.
Exactly. It gives kids tools to handle what researchers sometimes call toxic stress, that constant overwhelm. It builds kind of an internal buffer.
I remember reading that anecdote in the sources, the one about the student and the blocks.
Oh yeah, that's a great illustration. A teacher saw a kid heading towards a block tower, clearly about to kick it down. Impulse. Right.
Yep, standard kid stuff sometime.
But then the kid just stopped, took a visible breath, and walked away. That pause, that decision not to act on the impulse, that self-regulation in action, likely learned through these practices.
Okay, so summing up the pro case. Mu links to cognitive gains, less stress, less anxiety, better behavior, more resilience, more empathy. It sounds pretty compelling.
On the surface, absolutely. It looks like a slam dunk, but now we need to hold that positive picture up against the more critical findings.
Right, because if it's so great, why isn't it universally successful? This is where it gets tricky. The research is still pretty young, relatively speaking, and not all programs are the same.
And researchers themselves are urging caution. There's a quote that sums it up. We know very little about which programs work and what works for whom and under what conditions. That's a direct warning against jumping to conclusions.
We need more rigor before we just roll it out everywhere.
Precisely. And the biggest piece of evidence challenging the universal fix idea comes from that huge UK study, the Murad trial.
Tell us about that one. The scale sounds massive.
It was enormous. Over 8,300 students. I mean, that's way bigger than most previous studies combined. And they used really rigorous methods, gold standard stuff.
And the teachers delivering it were well-trained?
Highly trained. They'd done their own 8-week mindfulness course plus a 4-day training workshop. They really tried to control for quality.
Okay, so they did it right. What did they find?
This is the kicker. They found that the universal mindfulness training, and this is key, it was required for all students. It wasn't really a value add. It didn't show significant benefits over and above what schools were already doing for student well-being.
Wait. Required for everyone. So making it compulsory might be the issue.
That's exactly what the researchers concluded. Because it was mandatory, student engagement was low. Lots of kids just didn't want to do it. They complained. They preferred other things.
So a potentially useful tool becomes ineffective if you force it on people who aren't interested or ready.
Seems like it. That finding has huge implications for how schools implement these things. You can't just mandate inner peace, apparently.
Huh. Okay. That's a major finding. But the concerns don't stop there, right? There's also the issue of potential negative side effects.
Yes, and this is something that's often glossed over, especially in the school context. Adverse events from meditation.
Adverse events? You mean like it makes things worse?
It can. Research across populations shows that negative experiences are, well, surprisingly common. Not usually severe, but common enough to be aware of.
What kind of things are we talking about?
It can range. Sometimes, ironically, it might increase anxiety or agitation, insomnia, trouble focusing the very things it's meant to help.
Wow, okay.
Then, in rarer cases, you can see more serious effects like dissociation, feeling detached from reality, or depersonalization. And in very, very rare instances, links to things like psychotic-like experiences or even suicidal thoughts have been noted in the broader research.
That's really sobering. And the implication for schools is who's managing this if it happens in a classroom?
Exactly. Are teachers trained to spot a kid having a dissociative episode during quiet time? Usually not. They don't have that clinical mental health training.
So it comes back to implementation again. It needs to be done responsibly, safely.
Not just for effectiveness, but for basic student safety. It's crucial.
Okay, so given all this, the promise, the pitfalls, what does this mean for, say, a teacher or a parent listening right now? Where do we go from here?
I think the big takeaway is that how mindfulness is implemented and who is delivering it seems far more important than just having mindfulness on the timetable.
It's not plug and play.
Definitely not. The research strongly suggests that the most effective programs involve teachers who have their own genuine mindfulness practice, or at least a deep understanding.
So it's not just reading a script, it's embodying it.
Exactly. There's a phrase from the research on teacher programs like CARE that's cultivating awareness and resilience in education. They found the positive effect comes because it is how they teach, not just what they teach.
That makes intuitive sense.
And those CARE-trained teachers, they reported feeling less rushed, less stressed. They were more positive, more sensitive to the kids. The adult state matters immensely.
So the foundation is the mindful adult. And the strategy needs to be integration, not just isolated lessons.
Integration seems key. Weaving it into the existing school culture, perhaps linking it with social and emotional learning SEL frameworks, rather than just having an outside expert come in once a week. That rarely sticks long term.
Okay, practical tips. For someone listening, what are some simple integrated practices that actually seem to work, in class or at home?
Keep it brief and consistent. In class, maybe start the day or transitions with just, say, 5 minutes of focused breathing. Using a simple cue like a mindfulness chime can help signal that shift.
Goal rituals.
Exactly. And for anyone, kids or adults facing stress in the moment, Those acronyms can be useful, like STOP.
Remind us what that stands for.
Sure, stop, just pause. Take a deep breath. Observe what's happening inside you and around you. Then, proceed. Make a conscious choice about how to respond. It's a quick reset.
A way to interrupt that reactive cycle.
Precisely. And at home, for families, something like the 3 good things practice can be really powerful.
How does that work?
When a child's upset about something, you acknowledge the difficulty, you don't dismiss it. But then, together, you name 3 good things, however small, that also happened that day.
So it teaches them they can hold both, the disappointment and the gratitude.
Exactly. It fosters that more holistic view. You can feel sad about X and still appreciate Y and Z. It stops the negative from completely taking over.
That idea of integration is powerful. But you mentioned synergy earlier, combining mindfulness with other approaches?
Yes, this is maybe the most exciting finding. A recent study compared different teaching styles. Traditional, mindfulness only, something called humanistic only, and then a combined approach.
An optimized teaching method, they called it.
Right. It took just 5 minutes of mindfulness meditation and deliberately paired it with humanistic teaching principles.
Okay, wait. What exactly are humanistic teaching principles?
Think student-centered learning, focusing on the individual's potential, their self-concept. It involves things like inquiry-based projects, group work, and creating a really caring, respectful classroom environment. It's about external support for self-actualization.
Got it. So internal tools from mindfulness, external support from humanism, and when they combine them...
The results blew the other methods away. Seriously, across most all metrics. Academic improvement, 92% in the combined group versus 75% traditional. Attention levels, self-confidence, empathy, all significantly higher.
91% self-confidence, 83% empathy. Those are huge numbers. Why does that combination work so well?
Well, if you think about it, mindfulness provides the internal scaffolding, the calm, the focus, the ability to manage emotions, to be ready to learn.
Okay, internal readiness.
And humanism provides the external support, the safe, caring environment, the respect, the focus on growth and potential.
So the student is ready inside, and the world outside is set up to help them flourish.
That seems to be the synergy. It's not just about internal control. It's about applying that internal stability within a supportive, empowering context. That's what seems to really cultivate those deeper qualities like confidence, responsibility, creativity.
Which brings us kind of full circle. Mindfulness isn't a magic bullet, especially if mandated without care. It holds real power, but it needs respect.
Absolutely. Respect for the practice, awareness of the risks, and a deep commitment to thoughtful implementation, especially focusing on the adults delivering it.
Highly trained, mindful adults are key. And integration, not just adding another isolated program.
And maybe the ultimate goal, the real measure of success long-term, isn't just better grades next quarter. It's whether that student, years down the line, facing some unexpected stress, can independently use something like that STOP practice.
So it becomes a life skill, not just a school activity.
Exactly. That's the real transformation, when they internalize it and can draw on it whenever they need it.
So for you listening, maybe the final thought is to reflect on your own practice. How can you build consistency and self-care into your routine? Because the research really hammers this home. The adult's own mindfulness seems to be the bedrock for helping kids find theirs.